Honesties, welcome back to another episode of Honesty Though Podcast with your host Zena, aka Top Tier Z, where I keep it raw, I keep it real, and I keep it risky. Today's episode is a solo. Yay. First of all, for everyone who's been listening, thank you all so much for joining in weekly, downloading the episodes. I see a lot of my downloads are from people in Germany. Shout out to Frankfurt, Germany. Shout out to London. Shout out to Brooklyn. I'll be seeing y'all in there too. And yeah, Asia, thank you. I appreciate y'all support. So keep listening, share with your friends. I'm international. I'm low-key mad excited. For real, for real. And to everyone, I see I have new subscribers coming in. Welcome to the channel. It's a one-woman show, okay? I'm never shy. I just speak what's on my mind. And when my guests are here, I like to grill them a little. But thank you guys for your subscriptions and keep it coming. All right, with that said, honestly though, y'all, if there is one thing I hate when someone tries to call me fake nice. Like, oh, you're fake nice. You're not really a nice person. But when did I say I was? Because I always say I'm not a nice person. I don't care to be liked, so I don't care to be nice. Like, I literally tell people all the time, I'm not nice, I'm kind. And I think there's a difference. And I think a lot of times people use the two interchangeably, and I don't think they should be. And the reason I say that is because, like when someone says, don't take my kindness for weakness, and that's something I say very often. And the reason I say that is because I feel like kindness is rooted in love and compassion and actually caring. And I feel like niceness is more so rooted in approval of someone else, or you do something to gain something, right? And so when you take my kindness for weakness, baby, is not cute, because to me, I didn't have to do that. I chose to do that, right? And so all that to say, like when people try to say, "Oh, you're not doing this because you want to," there's times I would catch myself saying like, "Oh, I was so nice to her," and then I'm like, "Wait, but look what happened because I was nice to someone. When I go out my way to be nice to someone, that's when I get walked all over. That's when people take advantage of me." You get what I'm saying? Because majority of the times when you're nice, again, I feel like you're gonna end up people pleasing. I feel like you're gonna end up doing things against your boundaries or things that you just may not want to do because you're afraid of like disrupting the order. You're afraid to shake things up. So you have to do what is gonna be okay with everyone else, even if it may be something that may go against you and what you believe, right? Because you want to keep the peace and you're so nice, you can't shake shit up. Whereas me being a kind person, I have very firm boundaries, which I stand firmly in. And you can still be firm in your boundaries and still be compassionate, right? Okay, so for example, and this is why I had to like draw the distinction sometimes. Like there'll be times where I'm running late and I'm on the subway, or I'm going to catch the subway and I'm running behind already. And I see like a mother struggling with her kids in a stroller. Or sometimes you have the mother coming down with the stroller and there's like maybe a 3-year-old already walking towards the platform. Like, there's so many moments I would stop and either offer her help with the stroller, or sometimes when I see the kids like coming down the stairs because the mom is carrying the stroller so she can't hold them, I would like offer them my hand or like literally just guide them, keep them away from the edge of the platform until their mother gets down. And even though that's something that's inconveniencing me because my train could be there, or I know Yeah, I'm psychotic with this subway system. Like, I know exactly where I need to be when I get off the train. So half the time, I need to be walking my ass down that platform, right? But because I'm a kind person, because I genuinely care for others, I would stop and help the mother, help the kids, what the fuck ever, and then move on with my day. And that is what kindness is. That's just an example. Half the time, I feel like people are dead ass fake nice. And so I get so offended when people try to call me that because I don't care to be that. I don't go out my way to do anything I don't want to. And to me, that's how I know I'm not a nice person because if I was a nice person, I would do things just because other people want me to, right? Like, but I don't do anything I don't want to. I don't care who it is, I don't do it. Like my family would dead ass tell you, Zena's not a nice person. And guess what? I actually think that has been at my what's the word I'm looking for? At my advantage. I do think so. Yeah, because I just don't tolerate a lot of things that nice people tolerate. I don't. I don't leave room for it. I don't leave space for it. And I don't really care how that rubs people, but I think y'all need to start taking a look and really dissecting these words and their meanings. And also like what you want to portray. You feel me? Like as I was like thinking about this topic, even like the saying the nice guy finishes last, like that's something. Do you ever hear they say the kind guy finishes last? Like, do we ever? No, it's always the nice guy finishes last. And that's because, as I said, one, they're not interchangeable. And two, majority of the time when you're dating a quote unquote nice guy, a lot of times they're finishing last because they're either only doing certain things to be liked, right? Um, whoa, excuse me, did I not just eat? um, yeah, half the times they're doing things to be liked, or they're doing things again that they may not want to just because they want that woman to they wanna be at the top of the running, right? It's the dating Olympics, as I said. You want to be number one. So, as a nice guy, I'm going to do what she wants me to do. I'm going to do what she expects of me. Even if that's not who I am genuinely, even if I genuinely don't want to do it, I am going to do it because I want this woman's attention, right? And so, eventually, when that man slips and she sees him for who he is, then he finishes last. Because I feel like a lot of times when people are nice, you're not authentically yourself. You're trying to feel something. I'll unpack that another day. That was just a random ass thought. A kind man, on the other hand, now, a kind man may still buy gifts, may still get flowers, but the kind man has boundaries. He uses his discernment. He has standards. He's confident, right? He's compassionate. There is a difference. And so maybe I think people confuse being kind with being nice. And so that is when they take advantage of that kindness. And that's when it becomes a weakness. And that's when that quote unquote last guy finishes last type of situation. I don't know. Just be a kind guy. You don't gotta be a nice guy. And that also had me thinking, right, about this whole nice versus kind thing. And just like your expectations of people when dating. Because I genuinely want to know, is there a difference in what you expect from people and what you feel like is owed to you? I think there's a huge difference. And I'm bringing this up from my last couple episodes with Bones Brigante, the Sangon himself. And we were speaking about, oh yeah, I remember. I said I wasn't buying no man $400 cologne after dating him for 2 months. And so, he challenged that or whatever. And I've been thinking about this topic because it's like, what does a man owe you? Let's say after 3 months of dating, right? I'd say 3 months is the 90-day situation. I like 3 months is solid enough. What does a man owe you? And I really had to take a minute to think about this because I think there's a difference, as I said, between what you feel like is owed to you and what is what you expect, right? So 3 months is a substantial amount of time to establish like patterns and like what is going on in the relationship, right? Or the dating situation. Let me not say relationship. I think 3 months gives you time to see if this is going somewhere, to, see if there's potential and to decide what you want to do moving forward. And then, so within those 3 months, I do think there are things a man owes you. I think respect is one. Respecting your time, respecting your boundaries, respecting you as a human. Um, I think that man owes you intention. I think that's enough time for you to know what you want from someone and to actually be intentional, be actional, right? It's one thing to say something. If the action is not aligning with the words, I don't really know what the intent is. And also, it's just you have certain conversations when you are being intentional, like the curiosity about that person, different things you want to get to know, core values, um, family history, stuff like that, right? To me, that's part of like being intentional. I think that man owes you consistency. I think he owes you consistent communication, effort, following through on what he says. Um, that's like it's up there. I think he owes you honesty. I think he owes you clarity. Like we're not going with the flow. Tell me what is going on. You set the tone. You lead, I'll follow, right? And so with that being said, I do think those are things men owe you after 3 months of dating. I also think that should be reciprocated, right? I think whatever a man gives you or shows you, you should reciprocate. And honestly speaking, sometimes that's love bombing. I love bombing. I love to love bomb a man. Like, I don't care sometimes because y'all think my favorite game to play is when a man is love bombing me and I'm love bombing him back. But because he doesn't think I know he's love bombing me, he wouldn't think I'm doing it back to him. And like to me, I'm mad competitive. So the entire time I'm just like, well, who's gonna love bomb the most out of who first? Who's gonna know that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, love bomb me, baby, because one, being a Libra, like I think I deserve to be treated like your favorite person ever, right? So yeah, give me things, tell me sweet nothings, shower me with shit, love bomb even if you don't mean that shit. Because bring your offerings. Bring the gifts. That is how I want to be treated. I want to feel like the center of the universe. I mean, goddamn, I'm a Leo Venus. Like, boast about it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind being love bombed, but guess what? I'm gonna do this shit right back to you. You give me no effort, you give me no consistency, I give you that 10 times worse. Like, I'ma die on this hill. Whatever a man gives me, I'ma give it right back to him. Like, if a man does for me, I'm gonna do for him. And this is why I'm like, reciprocity is so important. If a man is consistent with you, be consistent with him. A man is constantly taking you out on dates, introducing you to new things, do the same. Like, that's how I like to date, honestly speaking. If a man, like, oh, hey, I saw this and I got it for you, like, I would do the same for him. Like, I would be thoughtful as well and reciprocate that, right? Like, what he doesn't owe you though, and I don't want us to get this confused, right? Because that man doesn't owe you anything outside of those things I listed, as far as like respect, honesty, consistency, whatever, whatever, like financial support, gifts. He doesn't owe you that. He doesn't. He doesn't owe you a promise to marriage. It's been 3 months. That meant that he doesn't have to pick up a bill of yours to show he's interested. It's been 3 months. Like, some of you are delusional. The things you guys require from people after 90 days of getting to know them, It's crazy. I think there's a difference between having a standard, and I think there's a difference with like having unrealistic expectations. And I always say the standard is whatever you can and have been maintaining yourself. Point blank, period. Like honestly, I still want to know how you guys ask men for money because I don't know how to ask a man for money. I literally don't. And maybe I've never had to ask, but like, is there a skill set to it? Men, how do y'all like to be asked for money? Do y'all like women asking y'all for money? Like, I did want to know. Because as I said, some women be so delusional with the things that they ask for. It's like you just feel comfortable opening your mouth and saying, like, hey, I need this, send me this. Y'all, I'm all over the place. But I just got the thought back. Now, I would say it's different if you're dating someone for 3 months, right? Because you do have some men who are very generous, who maybe their love language is gifts given. Maybe that's how they show their value, right? Like some men, they complain, oh, women only want me for my money. But half the time, that's all they lead with, or that's what they know how to lead with. I mean, we still have a lot of evolving to do. But as I said, you do have some men who just like buying things, right? Maybe they are just generous, kind people. And so, as a woman, like in that situation, I will let him know, like, the first time, for example, it happens, right? I would be so grateful, so appreciative, like, hey, this is so cute. I was not expecting this. You didn't have to. And then if it keeps happening, like, I think it's important to let a man know, like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to keep buying me a piece of jewelry every time you see me or a handbag. Buying some flowers, yes. I'm always going to say yes to flowers. If you tell a man he doesn't have to do something and he takes it upon himself to keep doing it, that's on him. Like, I'm so sorry to say that is on him. Again, still reciprocate, still show some appreciation, but I don't think you should feel obligated to keep up with that. You get what I'm saying? And then maybe that's just not his love language. Maybe he likes acts of service. Maybe he likes words of affirmation. Maybe the way you affirm him makes him wants to buy you things. So you just never know, but I think all in all, within those 3 months, the most important thing is get to know that person. Like, y'all owe it to each other to get to know each other and to have the important conversations about what matters and what makes you all compatible, because it's very easy sometimes when you're being blinded by the gifts, the romance, when there's like, I mean, y'all, let's talk about the gifts, the romance, but then let's add chemistry to that joint. Like, let's throw in when we have chemistry with a man that we find attractive, that we've been kicking it with. We be ignoring every red flag on the planet. Like, who try? And that's why sometimes, like, I don't want to give too early, you see, because it could be a little toxic. It could be you're trying to overcompensate for something. You feel me? That's why sometimes I don't like all the like gifts and all those things in my face, because sometimes when you're being blinded by certain things, it's hard to ignore the red flags and the things that we should be paying attention to. Yeah, so I think this is where dating gets blurry sometimes because all of that like reciprocity and kindness and gift giving and all those things that can like blur your judgment, right? Like if I have a man who's like buying me expensive shit every week, every time I see him, just like you're throwing it down my throat. Pause, not like that. Um like that sometimes like that makes you think you're more attracted to someone than you actually are, or you're thinking because he's getting me all these things like we have chemistry, right? And as I said before, for a lot of women, when there's chemistry and when there's attraction, we tend to ignore a lot of red flags. And the reason we do that, I feel like I can only speak for myself, but like y'all, it's a delusion. It's like sometimes think about it. The man looks good. The man is curious about you. You guys have good conversations. There's like this tension, there's a pull, you know what I'm saying? Like, the eye contact is there, like, the smell, like, everything's there, the chemistry is on point. It's so good, but we're not equally yoked. We're not compatible. Right, like, you can have all those things I mentioned with chemistry, but if that compatibility is not there, and that's when you get the compatibility. Finding out if you're compatible, it comes with the hard conversations. It comes with, like, the serious things, right? It's no longer just about the physical and the attraction. It it gets serious because if you guys don't wanna raise families the same way, that compatibility is gonna be questioned. If you have different eating habits and lifestyle habits, like, that can be questioned, right? Despite all the chemistry you have. And I think sometimes as women, we try to change things, right? It's like instead of acknowledging, yes, there's chemistry, but there's no compatibility, we try to make ourselves compatible for that person or for that relationship to work, right? Y'all, I used to make excuses like this is how hard I used to ignore red flags when I had like strong chemistry with someone. I used to make excuses for them just to, like, make things easier to digest, right? Just to make shit more believable. This is how delusional I was, like, it's like the brain just shuts off because the chemistry is so strong. It takes over. Chemistry is like electricity, it just runs through you. It's like a shock, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I used to, like, just be in Delulu land because the red flags are there, I'm seeing them, right? But it's like, I'll just keep turning them green. Every one that pops up red in my h I'm just flicking it into a green because the everything else was so strong. And y'all, there is nothing more on this earth that is more heartbreaking, nothing more than when you have crazy chemistry with someone and you're not compatible with them. But then the people you are compatible with, you have no chemistry with. It's like, is this a joke? Because you dead ass can't win. And like, I know the responsible thing to do is like develop connections with people you are compatible with, try to build that chemistry. But like, no, that's not what I want. Like, I'm not mature enough yet. I'm not mature enough yet to build chemistry. I feel like you either got it or you don't, you know? And I probably should because that's probably why I always end up with men who are no good for me because I keep going by chemistry. Yeah, not I'm saying that for my documentary on why I always end up with men who are shit. I end up with shitty men because yeah, your girl likes chemistry. I do. But I have been trying to be more open with the compatibility part. Like, obviously, when I find one who's both chemistry and compatible, then we end up in a relationship, right? Like, that's usually how it works for me. But the thing is, it's like the possibility of finding both in one on top of everything else I want in a man, the, the stakes are low. The stakes so low. So that's what my maturing is realizing compatibility is so much more important than chemistry. And, maybe at some point in my near future, I'll start like, I guess, going by that. Like actually giving the men who I might be compatible with a chance rather than just like dismissing it before even trying because the chemistry is not there. I'm not making any promises, but I'm gonna try. But I don't think people understand, like, do you understand how I think there is very few better feelings in this world than, like, making out with someone you have intense chemistry with, like there is just no better feeling. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. It's like it's just an ebb and a flow situation. Like it's literally electric. And so to think that I have to like build that with someone because we're compatible, you cannot build chemistry. Gosh, I just don't think so. I don't think so. I've been on threads, y'all. I love threads. And like to me, each of my social media platforms or like for different parts of me, right? To me, threads gets like the random thoughts that I be thinking that I don't usually say out loud, but now I'm starting to write it out loud, right? But anyway, so I've been on threads and there was this post. I don't remember if verbatim. Yes, I do. Not verbatim, but it was something along the lines of this man saying, I don't remember women in the 90s and 2000s being this broke and always like having their hand out or something like that. And y'all, the way the women in the comments ate this man up. Yeah, a man wrote this. And the responses, a lot of it were like, "Oh, because we're the first generation where the men are more sassy than us," or "We're the first generation where we make more than men," and all these things or whatever, right? Damn, I really like someone did this one with like R&B legends, like singing in the rain and yearning for women or whatever. I wish I remembered it verbatimly. But reading the comments, right? Because I think, and this topic just came up randomly as I'm like sitting here because as I'm like listening to myself speak, I don't want to send out the wrong message. Like the intention of this podcast was never for like gender wars and like shit like that. It was always to show like we're not a monolith. We have different experiences and I want to create a safe space so we can like bridge the gap and misunderstandings between the male and female, you know, sexes or whatever you guys want to call it. And so with all of that being said, I think earlier when I was speaking about the what does a man owe you after 3 months, um, and like speaking about, women asking for things or whatever, I think a lot of it came from seeing that threads post. Because I don't know, as a woman, I personally like, I'll be honest with y'all, as I said, I don't ask people for things. I don't feel comfortable asking people for things. It's just never really been my um something I'm good at. Not even women, like friends, family. I don't know. I don't know how to ask people for things. I don't. Maybe I just take pride in not having to ask people for things. And then again, I also have this thing where I feel like if I have to ask, then I don't really feel like I should have to ask, for certain things because if someone wants to, they will do, right? And so, with all that being said, like I do get the shame sometimes around the conversation of women like begging and feeling entitled to certain things or to financial support and stuff from a man. I have shame for them because I just don't know how people are so comfortable with doing those things. Like I don't know how people are so comfortable taking something from people. Like for me personally, I feel like when someone like does something for me or give me something, like I feel like I owe them something in return. And maybe that's something I have to unpack within myself, as to like why I'm like that. Um Yeah. So when the conversations come across my social media feed about like women begging for things and then you have the women combating like, oh, when men are asking for sex, they feel entitled and all these things, that whole back and forth conversation, like I want us all to bring shame back. Bring back shame. Like it's all just so transactional to me and I think for me, like, I just hate transactional shit. I don't like it. Like, I hate feeling like I have to like fake. I don't like to do anything I have to fake, first and foremost. I don't. If I have to fake it, I don't want to do it. So why must I like fake act like I like someone just because I want him to do something for me or because I want him to buy me something? Like the amount of energy it takes to be fake, to do anything that you don't want to do is so much more exhausting than just doing what you want to do. Like so much more. So, excuse me. For me personally, to give my quality time to someone, to speak to someone. Like I have so much shit going on in my life. I do not have the time to allocate to someone I'm not actually interested in, you know? And I think sometimes that's why like when I start to lock in on like a vision or something I want for myself or just something creatively, like I have to put if I'm not in a relationship, like I have to put dating on the side because I think dating can be such a big distraction that sometimes I need to lock in and I don't want any distractions when I'm trying to like build something new or trying to figure some shit out, you know? So for me to like give someone my time that I'm not feeling or I see nothing with just because I want something from them, it's so crazy to me. Honestly, y'all, I am going to St. Lucia for a week. Like, I'm so happy to go home and just get grounded. I'm taking my daughter with me before she starts school. So very much so looking forward to that. And here's something that's been on my mind because I wrote a short piece on Threads and I've been inspired to write again. I think I forgot how much I actually enjoy writing since I've been podcasting for so long. I've been talking so much these days. I forgot I'm good at writing. And this just I figured I'd share this, considering I don't know if you guys know, I was born in St. Lucia. All my Caribbean people who are out there, what's up? Nice to meet y'all. And I moved to New York when I was 10. And I think something I've struggled with for a long time in my life is having people make me feel like I have to choose one or the other or I don't belong. And I began to unpack this and it's you know, something I have to unpack internally as well because when I like first moved to New York, Brooklyn, I moved to Brooklyn, New York when I was 10. And so I started 6th grade and there I had to like I'm talking about I have this strong ass St. Lucian accent. Like it's strong, right? Like I'm saying bitch to say beach. I'm saying tree to say three. Like the dialect is just crazy. And so at that age, I had to like assimilate and like adapt a Brooklyn dialect so that my peers could understand me. And so over the years, after living in Brooklyn for 24 years, I very much so had this Brooklyn attitude, this dialect, and so forth. But at my core, I very much so have this St. Lucian dialect attitude in the way that I carry myself. Like I am very much so more soft spoken in my day to day life. Like podcasting has forced me to train myself to project and enunciate. Um, when I first started podcasting, like you could barely hear what I would say sometimes. Like you literally had to raise the volume, right? And so like that's who I am at my core. Like I'm very chilled and very laid back. I'm more on the quiet side. And then with my Brooklyn environment, I am very much so I feel like Brooklyn brought the resilience. It brought the I'm not gonna take shit from anyone attitude. Is very much so what you see is what you get. And so one struggle for me I find is that people of black culture, like people who are black American born and raised, they treated these two different cultural experiences as if there's a dichotomy to it, as if you have to be one or the other, right? And so for me, when I would go back home to St. Lucia, I would say the first time I went back since moving, I moved here in 2002. I went back in 2016. So 14 years later, when I go back home and people are like, "Where you from?" They ask me where I'm from, and I'm like, "I'm from here, St. Lucia." And they literally tell me, "No, I'm not." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And they're like, "No, but you don't sound like us. You sound American. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, it's such a mind fuck because I feel like you have to be so strong and like grounded in who you are to know who you are because you're gonna find in life like I have one country I'm living in where they pretty much tell me I don't belong. If they ask me where I'm from and I say I was born in St. Lucia, but I lived here since I was 10, oh, you're not a New Yorker. Cool. I go back home. I have a New York accent. It's you're not from St. Lucia. So where the hell am I from? Like where? It could be so not confusing because as I said, I know who I am, but I don't think people understand just how much it can actually impact someone's identity, you know? Because as I said, it's like when people keep telling you you don't belong, you don't belong, you don't belong. But to me, the beauty in that is you don't have to choose one or the other. Like, I think the most authentic parts of us or the spaces in between and just having those two cultures coexist, you know? And I brought this up because I feel like part of this whole fake nice thing is that when people see me as like cool, quiet, calm, soft tone, soothing tone Xena, it's well, where's the Brooklyn Xena? Who's this? This one's fake because where's the Brooklyn attitude? Where's the girl who don't take shit from anyone? And I feel like they can't figure me out. You know, even on the internet, I get like, oh, use your real voice. This is not your voice. And it's like, y'all don't know me. Like, I have people who've known me for over 10 years who will literally step in the comments and be like, that's her voice. Like, that's how she speaks. And yet you have strangers who just can't buy it. And I think it's just so different to them that they can't buy it. And I think that is I want to live this conversation with the takeaway of that is what makes us all beautiful, or those small and intricate details, though they're different, but they're significant. And this is a message to myself, you know, as I get ready to go back home and like as I said, I love going back home because it keeps me grounded. It always like helps me return to self. It also like just brings me this wave of feminine energy that just revitalizes me. I mean, St. Lucia is the only island, it's the only country in the world to be named after a woman. So I think it has a lot of feminine energy. But yeah, it just brings me so much peace and grounding. So as I embark on this week-long journey, um, I think I say all of that to say I don't have to belong one place or another. Like, just be who you are and do what suits you. I don't know. I don't know. So I feel like there's so much more I want to say on this topic. Um, but time is against me. And maybe I do want a guest who's also from the Caribbean who can relate or can share their experience because we all have different experiences. But I just wanted to share something from my personal life that just kind of made me look at migration just from a different lens. But anyway, I will see you all next week. Like, comment, share, subscribe, download the episode if you enjoyed it, share with a friend. And yeah, see y'all next week. Bye.